Welcome back to the lunch table, food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz. You already know where to hit that subscribe button, man. Shout out to my next guest. We actually just did a live podcast over at THOP Fest sometime in September, October. Give him the correct date.
October 5th.
October 5th. That was pretty lit, man. I didn't know what to expect because it was over at a Firewater Bar. And as soon as you walk in, I looked around and I was like, you know what? This is everything that a festival should have. Couple stages, a little area for people to do seminars, and a whole bunch of vendors trying to sell their stuff, man. So shout out to my guy who created THOP Fest, the Happiness of Pursuit Fest, 60 East. What's good, man?
What's good, bro? Good to meet you.
You know, the first question I really got to ask you is, has Kid Cudi ever reached out to you and was like, yo, that's my song, bro?
Nah, I mean, we put the flip on it, man, so can't really do nothing, you know what I mean? There's books, there's movies, there's like...
That's true.
But not too many people did the flip, you know what I mean? There's like the pursuit of happiness, not the happiness of pursuit.
Yeah.
There's still a couple out there, but they ain't tripping.
So I had a couple ideas in my head because you do call it the happiness of pursuit. And the way I was thinking about it was kind of just like when you have a goal in mind or when you have some sort of accolade that you're trying to acquire, I feel like you have to be happy to want to be able to get to that endpoint because I feel like there actually is no endpoint for everything that you're trying to pursue.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you just got to grind it out, man. The happiness of pursuit, I mean, the concept just kind of came about of just like, I've been doing this music stuff for a long time and I'm touring for a long time. And I had read a book and read several articles and stuff about this guy that he was touring around the country or touring around the world. And instead of writing a book about his experiences, he wrote a book about all the people he met along the way.
Wow.
And I thought it was super dope. And I've met so many dope artists touring around the world that I wanted to build something in my hometown and bring all the artists that I've met from around the world and help them showcase themselves to my home, like my people from where I'm from, you know?
You know, shout out to Ontario, man. I feel like Ontario doesn't necessarily have like that support musically because I can't really name anybody from out there.
We don't have much, man. It's a small city, but we're on the rise. Like we're supposed to be like one of the top 50 cities in the country soon, just because of the airport, the location, and everything. We're a growing city, and I like to think that as an artist, I've kind of been growing with the city, and as it grows, and I've started this festival, we're starting to grow with the city and with everything that's going on, and we're helping contribute to that.
Yeah. How long have you actually been in the game? Because THOP Fest has been around for, 4 years now?
Yeah, about to be 4.
About to be 4 years. So then you were obviously doing music before THOP Fest, like touring and whatnot. So how long have you been in the game?
I've been in or around the game since like junior high, but starting to like pursue a career since 2010. So I'm about to hit 10 years.
Okay. You know what's crazy is that a lot of the people who I was meeting at THOP Fest are kind of around that decade mark. You know what I mean? Like people like yourself who have just been like trying to grind it out for so long and just not necessarily waiting for their shot, but just need the right opportunity to hit them.
Yeah. I feel like there's a whole generation of artists in like every field that some people get lucky, you know, they hit that Spotify song or the SoundCloud song and they get hot overnight. But for the majority of the industry, there's people that have been doing it consistently, like on the hush, and have just been making a living doing it independently. And that's where a lot of us like reside.
Where do you think the problem comes from doing rap for so long? Because you're like on your 10-year mark, right? Yeah. And like, why do you think you have one person boom so quickly, and then for majority of us, we have to like keep on working for like 10, 15, 20 years.
It's just life, bro. Like, I think luck has a lot to do with it, especially in this industry. Timing, connections, money. It's just a lot of different factors. But for some people, it happens. For some, it doesn't happen at all. And for some people, you know, work every day and make a living out of it. Bro. You know, it's just like it happens. You know, for some people, it don't though.
It's crazy, man. I think a part of it's really also the adaptability to everything that's new.
technology, everything, yeah.
bro. Like, cause I mean, even 20 years ago, like we saw nothing from like Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, even now things are changing with like TikTok, and people are finding ways to promote their music on like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and trying to be creative that way. Whereas for back then, it was just like, look, you make a music.
Yeah.
You might be an industry plant. Motherfuckers might have just like looked at you and just been like, "Yo, you're dope. We're just gonna keep on developing
you." Got the look or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a different age, bro. Like I kind of came from that industry like time where you had to sign a record deal because these are the people that distributing the music. And then I saw the transition into like MP3s, and I lived through the transition and watched it and saw the diminishing of CDs and the reoccurrence of vinyl and just like everything that's happening in this industry. It's just like a ever changing. Like there's a new app, a new social media thing every day, and it's like if you can't adapt, then you just get lost in it, and you want to be one of those garage artists that like, oh, I don't do social media. I just release music and tour. And it gets hard though because I know a lot of those older acts that try and do that, and they're not successful just because you know what I mean? Like you need to stay with the time.
Well, that's why we get like the bitter ass people who are just like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, how are these like 16, 17-year-olds popping off? And it's simply because they're utilizing the resources that are accessible to like damn near everybody.
Yeah.
You know, like we have a phone right now, and people always ask me all the time, like, oh, you know, like how do you promote your podcast, or how do you like promote like somebody's music? And I'm just like, look, bruh, you can literally go on Instagram right now.
Yeah.
You can throw $5 toward like an ad and just like put it in an area. You know what I mean? Like, and you can guarantee like get your target audience as long as you know what your target audience is.
Yeah, it's real easy, man. And just that transition has been crazy to see, and how people are trying to adapt to it, and being an artist and being in it and trying to adapt to it. Luckily, I kind of have an advantage having the festival because I get to learn marketing and promoting for events and apply that to my music stuff. But one of the reasons I started the festival is because I had that experience from marketing and promoting myself as an artist. So it's like back and forth, and it's just kind of what's kept me ahead of the curve, I guess.
Do you enjoy the artistry, or do you enjoy creating the festivals?
Because
those are two different things, bro.
The business, I always say it's the music and the business, but it's the music business. So I feel like you got to have a little bit of both and trying to balance those hats. It's like if you do more business, the music coming out whacker, and then you spend more time making dope music, then the business suffers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been trying to learn how to balance and delegate to people that I'm trying to bring on my team. But I enjoy both, but now it's kind of like I'm seeing a little more money coming from one, but one's more fun. It's just both of them have their balance, and I've always liked that I've had both personalities, because I have like the diehard artist friends, and they're the dudes sleeping on the couch, like bumming it, just doing the music every day, but don't know how to market and promote it or whatever. So it's just like they're the one in 1,000 mixtapes getting released every day.
That's crazy.
And then I have the business dude that eventually is just like, hey, you know what? Rap is cute and cool and all for the kids, but it's like, yo, I'm over here making money.
Yeah.
And I've always had the balance of both, so it's kind of like I don't know. They both do the same for me though.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it just comes down to like what you really want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would see the whole thing, because seeing how THOP Fest was put together, because you had people like Murs on there. Yep. I think you had like Blue and Exile on there too. Did Vel perform? I don't think
she was at the after party.
She was at the after party, but you know, nonetheless, you had Vel the Wonder over there too. Shout out to Vel. And I'm over here thinking like, this guy either has like a lot of influence, or he's really plugged in to get all these people in. And you know, that's something like business people need to think about when creating a festival. When even like thinking about like constructing your business in a way that'll make sense. Because even Murs is from out here, radius. Even Vel the Wonder is kind of like from out here, and that's the whole radius too. And considering that THOP Fest was more so like golden era hip hop, you know, like you already know to get like your niche crowd and saying like, I'm gonna get everybody who's into golden era hip hop.
You lost me.
Yeah. No, it's all good. But like, so I'm guessing since THOP Fest really puts on for people of that golden era. That I'm assuming that's what you were growing up on.
Yay and nay. I've had a lot of influences behind the festival. More so, Pay Dues, which was Merge's festival. So Merge threw a festival back in the day, and it was all independent hip hop. What didn't matter if it came out yesterday or 20 years ago. If you were independent, you were qualified to perform on this festival if you've paid your dues in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably the main influence behind me starting the festival. But then I, as an artist, I got to perform on several different festivals, and I kind of just nitpicked what I liked out of everyone. And like, out of the pay dues thing, I kind of liked that you had to qualify to be on the festival. Like, you had to meet a standard. He wasn't just, you couldn't pay to get on. You couldn't, it wasn't who you knew. You had to earn your way onto that based on the work you had did the previous year. Soundset Festival, which is thrown by Atmosphere and Rhymesayers and all them, I always liked that they kept it in their hometown. And the reason they kept it in their hometown is because they wanted people to fly into there, because people don't usually go there and experience the city and how beautiful the city is and what the city has to offer, and then come party with us Sunday and experience our hip hop scene here. That I wanted to apply that to Ontario because, like you said, like, people aren't familiar with it. Hip Hop Camp in Europe, one of the biggest hip hop festivals out there. When I did it, I walked around and they had like an arcade. They had like a human beer pong or
human beer pong,
human foosballs. It was like just different like games and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to apply that into the festival, and just little things like that. That everywhere that I saw, I just applied to my own. But one of the things that I also liked about Merge and Soundset, just how organic it was. He was in the game. You know what I mean? He was touring. He knew all Immortal Technique, Atmosphere, and he's like, dude, there's nothing for these independent artists. So he built his own platform off the relationships that he had. So he's calling in favors, and he's respected in the game. So it's like, I'm going to build this for my scene. And there was a certain authenticity that came with that, where it's like, it's not Golden Voice or Live Nation just putting up millions of dollars trying to buy this niche market. It's someone from the culture doing it for his own people. And I basically did the same thing after touring 7-8 years. Like, I have all these relationships with all these artists that aren't getting known. And like I said, I wanted to build a platform for them locally. And to this day, we don't have a big sponsor. All this money is coming out of my pocket, and
that's crazy.
Certain friends that are starting to help out and stuff like that. But that authenticity is, I think, what gives us like that certain energy that we have and momentum that we have going on, because people know me. Like, people know me all over the country, and I have fans all over the country that, like, certain cities that I don't get to tour in. So now that I've built the festival, they're kind of like, oh, well, we don't have to wait for you to come to wherever, Missouri.
We'll go to you.
We're gonna fly to you, see where you're from, and get to party with all these dope artists and see you perform. And it's like, it's a beautiful thing, man, you know? And I've seen that people coming in from all over the country just to experience that. They're like, dude, I've never been to Ontario. I'm going to the mall. I'm doing this. And it's like, on every aspect, it's like they're getting to enjoy my city.
Yeah.
My city's making money. Like, I'm bringing in money into the city because they're eating at the restaurants, staying at the hotels, buying gas at the gas station, renting cars. And it's like, it's just a beautiful thing, man.
Well, that's why what I appreciated about THOP Fest the most was that whenever I go to a festival, like outside, like, you know, a major festival, right? I'm going to see hella people just taking photos, taking videos, kind of paying attention to the performance, but most of the time it's just like you see the flashing light on here and people want to post it, right? Whereas when I was at THOP Fest and I was seeing people perform, I'm just like, yo, people are actually just into the music. You know what I mean? And it's kind of weird thinking about it, because when people have their phones out and whatnot, cool, free promo, whatever. But when you're actually in there, I think it says a lot more if people are away from their phones. I feel like people are a lot more connected to the music and the people that you've put on the festival. That's
dope. I didn't really notice that, but I've heard that from different people, just in different ways. Certain people have said just like the vibe of the show is people are there just to like kind of discover music. It's not where it's like you go to a hip hop show and people got their arms crossed until the headliner.
Just like hella cool.
Yeah,
like,
until whoever, Young Jeezy or whoever comes on stage. It's like, nah, like I want to find some dope shit so I can tell my friends about it. I want to go through the vendor alley and find that cool shirt that no one has so I could wear it to work or school the next day or whatever. And yeah, I think that's just the dope energy that we've been able to create. Like I can't explain it.
So how did the idea come about? Like when did you guys first draw up like, hey, we're gonna create this festival?
So it didn't just happen overnight. I've been part of a record label previously from Sacramento, California called First Dirt, and we had been throwing shows like all over the country for like 5 years or whatever. And then a family member actually purchased a bar in Ontario, Firewater Bar. And
okay.
after a couple of months, I was just kind of like, yo, let me throw like a hip hop show like inside the actual bar. And it was like a going away party for me to go to. I was going to Europe, and I actually had Vel perform. It was me and Vel, and we sold it out. It was like probably the best night that bar's ever had. And my my brother-in-law, he was just like, yo, like let's do more of this. Like, you know, it was good luck for you guys, good luck for us. Let's see like what else you could do. So I ended up throwing like a couple more shows there, small shows, and I was just kind of getting this was around 2016, 17. And I was kind of not getting fed up with touring, but I was just like, I want more. Like this isn't fulfilling me like it was, and like I want to try and do something else. And then everything just kind of fell into place. And he was like, "Yo, let's try to do something in the parking lot." And I was like, man, that's gonna take some money that I don't have. And we started doing numbers, and it was like, okay, something that I may be able to pull off. So I like pulled together all my resources, and like I just made it happen the first year. And after there, it was just like, okay, we got something.
So how much do you think you spent on the first year running that festival?
It was only it wasn't much, but it was a lot for me just because I'm an independent artist. You know what I mean? And just like a festival, people don't know, but it's just money going out for 6 months until the day of the show is the day it all comes in, and like the pre-sale tickets are coming in. But like certain ticket outlets, all the ticket sales, you don't even get that money until a week after the show. So it's like you have to find ways to make money, which is usually sponsorships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we're completely independent, so we don't have any sponsorships, and that's not because we don't want them, but it just hasn't happened. Or like year one, for example, we hadn't made a name for ourselves, so people are like, why are we going to invest into this unproven brand? So it was all an investment. I just had to spend mad money, but to answer your question, it was like roughly like $5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah.
Sheesh. And how many people did you have performing for that first one?
I can't even think off the head, but like over 30. But I mean it's just so much now. The stage, security, staff, inventory, tents, fences, like it's just a million things that go into it that people don't think of, man. And I'm still a human being. I'm still doing the whole music thing, working, being a dad, regular life, having to like, you know, get an oil change. It's just like all these things, and it's just like
getting an oil change.
I mean, just everything.
I need my groceries. I need my haircut.
Yeah, and there's just
regular shit.
So much stuff you can fit into a day, but like with the festival, there's over 100 people you have to communicate with over a 6-month period for this one day. I'm sure you know we were bugging you like back and forth for like months, just be like, hey, just reminding you.
You still doing it? You still doing
yeah,
it?
You're
hey,
good. You're good.
Yeah.
Checking in. This checking in time. This is blah blah. It's just like we have to do that with 100 people, you know, and sometimes more than that. And sometimes it's just me doing that. And luckily now we've gotten to the point where it's like we got somewhat of a staff, but it's like that first year I was literally answering every email, sending every email,
Rough.
every phone call. But yeah. Now we're here, and it's just like looking back, it's like it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, man. Because now it seems like you guys got like a whole staff, you know, enough people to like work the festival. And like I said, man, it turned out great, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing for the culture. So between like Murs, Vel, Self Provoked, everybody down the list, man, were those all like built off relationships? Because there's a whole bunch of people out there who are thinking the same way. Like, maybe I want to do a show.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to do a festival. So how do I get these people to come over to my shit and do my shit?
Most of it is relationships. Like, I mean, Merz put me on paid dues 6 years ago, and it's like, you can't buy that. You know what I mean? Like, me and Vel were on Warped Tour 5 years ago, and like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's an authentic relationships, and that definitely helped with the show. But there's certain people like Mobb Deep where it's like, oh, I got to make a couple phone calls to get to, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, who do I know that knows them?
Shout out to Havoc.
Yeah, it's like all of them, you know what I mean? But
was that rough to try to get?
Is not really, now that I think about it, but it was just kind of like, it was kind of easy. I thought it was going to be like hard to do and out of budget, but it was like, we made an offer and they were like, oh, okay. And even just getting the contact was just like, he's, you know, on the agency and all that. So I was just like, all right, who do I know at the agency? Oh, blah, blah. That's easy. And now that we're a couple years in, I pretty much have relationships at every label and agency that I need to have relationships with, where it's just like, yo, we're coming back around. We want to book this artist this time. And they were like, that's where relationships are important. They're like, oh, the experience was great last time. The artist had a great time. We'd love to work with the festival again. Who do you want?
Yeah.
So
there it is, man.
Yeah, it's gotten easier.
That experience is crazy, bro. I mean, going through everything in the span of like 10 years or so between like touring and just making relationships with all these labels, it becomes a lot easier by the time you get to like 2020. You're just like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. Yeah. This is who I have to call up, and this is how we're going to make it happen.
I have a lot of friends that sign record deals, and they didn't get to keep all the contact, all the label, all the interviews they did, all the shows they did. They didn't lock in that promoter's number. They didn't lock in the radio dude's number. They didn't lock in the DJ that spun the record. So it's like once they got off the label, they're like, "What do I do?
Yeah, how do I?" Crazy.
Whereas me, I've been self-managed for so long. I have all these contacts in my database. Whereas like I run my own ship, so it's like I don't need a label. And like these days, how we were just talking about all the things that we have, like what do I need a label for to distribute my stuff? Like I could go to CD Baby or DistroKid or whoever. You know what I mean? And they're just now it's just labels are just kind of investors, and they're not going to invest in you until they see that until they see that you're hot. And at that point, it's just like, what do I need you for? Money? It's like, well, I could just take out a loan or hit the streets or get a job and invest in my own stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm at now. Whereas if a label, I've been in the talks with labels now, and a lot of it is because they see what I have going with the festival. It's a lot of the same momentum. They're like, oh, well, you have control of that. We want somewhat control of that. And if we have control of you, maybe. And it's just like, yo, I see the angle. And at this point, I'm not desperate for a check. So it's just like, if you're going to offer me a number, it better be a high number. And it
better be stupid.
And there better be a lot of the things that I can't do for myself. Yeah. And it's like, because if not, then what's the point?
Because at that point, you would probably only need a label to get to that one extra hump that you just necessarily can't get over. But I think what tends to happen is that artists get a little bit big-headed, and once they have their hit record, that's when they're just going to sign to like a single deal, or the label's really just going to scoop them up and then just shelve them later on. Because like, well, as long as we own this one song, we're good to go. The residual checks are going to be really good for the label after that.
And it's just like, it's usually young artists that are inexperienced and don't know what to do with their business, whereas like seasoned people and people that know the business and know how to run their own ship, there has to be certain incentives for people to even want to be on a label, and it's usually money. And it's like, at this point with like a business and stuff, I don't need a label. Like the labels are cool, and like the only reason I would go to a label if it were for like a certain project and it made sense and it was a label I wanted to be at. Other than that, I wouldn't just be desperate to sign a deal to look cool and have a deal.
Hell no, because people get infatuated by that. I think what tends to happen too is that when a lot of these younger artists who come from more poverty-stricken areas, right, they're looking at like a $50,000 check. Like, I can get that money. You know what I mean? Like, give me that money so I can help my mom's out. So I can help my family situation out. And that's always like the tough part about it too, because it's like you can never really tell why somebody signs like what they actually do, because you don't know what the fuck their family situation is. But if you just sign it out of just pure oh yeah, I'm just gonna sign just to sign because the shit looks good, just because I'm gonna get this money like really quick. It's like that is such a horrible way of thinking about these things, man.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like a couple years ago, I would have been in that boat. I would have been like, "Yo, I need that. I need that check." But like I said, after starting the festival, making a couple of smart investments, learning the business, investing elsewhere, like I'm in a place where I don't need to do that now. And like I'm a grown ass man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like. If you would have caught me at 19, 20 years old, whatever,
Let's
yo,
run this shit right now.
And that's
bro.
why I'm kind of glad that life worked out that way. And I think if I would have had a record deal or fame or whatever at that time, I would have been dead or in jail at this time because I would have done some horrible things. But I think everyone's life is different. You know what I mean? And gaining this experience over the past 10 years matured me to where now when money comes in or whatever, I know what to do with it. I'm not out buying shoes or whatever, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of glad that I've been playing the long game.
So October 5th, THOP Fest is officially done for 2019, right? And when I was going over your discography, I don't think you dropped the album since like what, 2016, 2018? It's been a minute.
Actual album, yeah, I don't think since 16, but I've been releasing so I had this
You have
idea.
some singles coming out though.
I dropped a bunch of singles this year, but I've been dropping EPs. And so I started this series called the Freeway Series. And this was kind of like I don't want to release an album until I'm on a label or in a position to release like an album. Mm-hmm. So I just want to release these series of these EPs until I want to release an album.
Yeah.
And I released one. I released the Circles EP last year, which wasn't part of the Freeway series, but it was an EP with the producer Ariano. And the year before that, I had released the Freeway series EP Part 2, and I'm getting ready to release Part 3,
oh shit,
any minute now. And this whole year, I kind of took a break from touring up until recently just to work on music. I've been in the studio with all kinds of dope producers and just stacking material, and I got handful of videos, handful of projects just locked and loaded and ready to go. So I want to end the year, start the year, just
with a fucking bang, bro.
Unloading the clip, bro. I've been loading the clip all year. So the beginning of the year, it's just single video project, and I just want to set up a run. So for the next 6 months, just 60's dropping shit every week, man. What's going on here? How's he doing?
Right?
But it's just it took the year of preparation to make that happen. And also, this is the first year that we threw 2 THOP Fest a year. So it's I took the break to make that happen and make all the music in between.
Oh, so you had another one happen, what?
April.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
And like I said, I just got back from the East Coast. I was on the East Coast for almost 3 weeks with Skyzoo and Elzai for Skyzoo's new project with Pete Rock. So we were on the official tour. I'm here for 5 days, and I leave Saturday to start the West Coast tour. And then when I get back, it's all right, it's time to work on the festival and releasing this music. So it's just I've been good, man.
That's good, man. I gotta ask you one last thing about the festival. Is there any possibility, I mean, especially since you ran 2 within the same year, is there any possibility of THOP Fest going outside of Ontario?
I'm going to say no, but there's been people, I was going to make a post about this on social media yesterday too. It's funny you ask. So people have been asking me, businesses, sponsors have been asking come to LA or Riverside, San Bernardino, whatever, just kind of trying to get me to move the show. But the logo of the show, if you notice, it's a plane going over and a boat under, and it makes an O, and that O is for Ontario. You know what I mean? So the point is to keep the show in the hometown for the same reason I had said earlier about sound set and stuff, that I want to bring people to my hometown. I don't want to bring people to LA, somewhere I'm not from, or the city, you know what I mean? If you want to go there while you're in Ontario, be my guest. But I want people to come to my city and experience my city. And for the core of the festival is Inland Empire artists and Inland Empire Foundation. So it wouldn't make sense to have it anywhere but the heart of the town. You know what I mean? So
I respect that so much, man. Good for you. Y'all better recognize whenever you pull up to Ontario, that's 60 East is city.
Yeah, yeah.
You dig?
Oh, you gotta take the 60 from LA to get there. Unless you're up here, you take the 10 or whatever. But like, if you're on the south end, you take the 60.
So I'm assuming your name came from the freeway.
Yeah,
60 East.
Yep.
You be coming from the 60 East side.
Yeah. So if you're
Simple
if you're
as that.
in LA, say if you're in LA and you got to get to Ontario, you're gonna take the 60 East. So when you're on the 60 East, you know who to call, man.
Shit, man. Well, there you go. 60 East. So you said your EPs are gonna. You have a couple EPs out right now, and you're dropping singles. When's the next drop?
Soon. I can't speak on it just because I have a couple things we're trying to figure out. Not label wise, but distribution wise. On the release, so I don't have an exact date, but it's completely produced by Curtis King Beats.
Man, shout out Curtis King, man. Shout out to the IE
Shout out to Curtis. Yeah, I've been working on this project for a couple years. It's just kind of like so many projects, so much stuff I got going on. It just makes sense now. But yeah, it's completely produced by Curtis King Beats. Features the homie Fashawn.
Oh wow.
Features Afro, Rain Raps, and Crystal Sarah.
There you go, man.
And yeah, I'm excited, bro.
That sounds like a dope project.
It's only 5 tracks too, and it's like
All we need is 5, man.
Yeah,
Everybody's
yeah.
attention spans are so short.
That's
You know
where
what
I was
Just-
at. So that was kind of the theory behind releasing the like EPs. The EPs are like 5 to 7 songs or whatever, and it's just that the attention spans are low. So I'm like, I would just want to release EPs, have like 2-3 videos each EP, if not a song for each or a video for each song. And just keep moving to build that momentum up. And then it's just like, all right, like these EPs are cool, but where's the album? It's like when they want the album, I'll know it and I'll have it ready. You know what I mean? Because I've been busy, man.
Yeah, I can tell, man. Well, shit, 60 East, man. THOP Fest, unreleased project. It'll be out very soon, executively produced by Curtis King. When can we have the next THOP Fest too?
Oh, wow. That's a conversation that I've been waiting to have as soon as I get back from tour. But if we're on track, April's going to be the next one, and it would be April 4th.
Well, shit, man. Let me know if we could do another live podcast over there.
Yeah,
Okay?
for sure.
60 East, where can everybody find you, bro?
60east.net, SIXTYEAST.net. Instagram at 60east, Twitter at 60east909. I love to dwell on Twitter. I'm whatever on Instagram, but like Twitter is my stomping grounds.
I got to see your Twitter there, man. Your Twitter must be super lit.
Twitter's lit. Facebook, I be on Facebook hella heavy too. Yeah, that's where you can find me though. Follow the festival too, thopfest.net, at thopfest, THOPFEST, not to get mistaken with Thought Fest, which people like to make the joke of. Yeah, check us out. We got a dope lineup coming up very soon.
There you go. Well, this is the lunch table, food for thought. I'm Nico Blitz, 60 East THOP Fest, and we are out, everybody.
Yay! Peace.